Okay, everyone, here we go. Let's review this 824 to 828, or actually it was 924 to 928. That's a typo. Weekly review. What was it? No, it was 824 to 828. All right. So let's remember that whenever we see double negatives here, we can change them to both positive. So plus, plus. So we have one negative, one positive, and we're combining numbers and we have different signs. We subtract. 8 minus 8 is 0. Simple as that. Number 2. It's already a plus here, so there's no need to change anything. So I can combine. 1 is a positive, 8 is a negative. They are not the same sign, so 8 minus 1 is 7. And 8 is bigger, and 8 is a negative, so the answer is negative as well. Let's put a box around this one too. So those two were simple, right? Just two numbers. So let's work on these ones that are a little tougher here. So again, we're going to change that to a plus. That means I got to change that to a minus. Change that to a plus. That means I got to change that to a plus. So, two numbers at a time, right? A V only has two arms, so two numbers at a time. So, -5 and -5 are the same sign, so I add them. 5 and 5 is 10. And they're both the same sign, so it's a negative. So I can bring down plus +5. So now these two are not the same sign, so I subtract. 10 minus 5 is 5. And it's a -5 because 10 is bigger than 5, and 10 is a negative. Okay. So let's continue. Okay. So this is a positive, so I'm going to leave it. This is a minus, so I'm going to change it to plus. That means I have to change that to plus as well. So let's take two at a time. Those two are not the same signs, so I subtract. 6 minus 4 is 2, and it's a -2 because 6 is bigger. And I bring down my plus +5, so just +5. And I do a V between those two. Those are not the same sign, so 5 minus 2 is 3. And it's a +3 because 5 is bigger and 5 is a positive. Okay. Let's move on to the next one here. Let's change. Actually, let's keep red. All right. So again, I'm going to look for my minuses. Here's a minus here, so I'm going to change it to a plus. So I change that to a plus. This is a plus, so I'm going to leave that. And this is a minus, I'll change it to a plus, and I'm going to make this a -2. So, two numbers at a time. 5 and 7 are both positive, so I add them. 5 plus 7 is 12. And I bring down my +8. Plus, I'm going to put this in parentheses, -2, just like that. So again, two numbers at a time. 12 plus 8 is 20. And I bring down my plus -2. And finally, these last two, 20 and -2 are not the same sign. So I subtract. 20 minus 2 is 18. And it's a +18 because 20 is positive and 20 is bigger than -2, so that's a positive as well. Okay. And last section here of combining, right, is so we look for minuses. So this minus becomes a plus. So that changes as well. And that's a plus here, so I'm going to leave that. And this becomes a plus, so this 1 becomes a minus, just like that. Right. Like that. So take two numbers at a time. 4 plus 2, that's easy enough, right? 6. And I bring down my +5, And my plus, I'm going to put that in parentheses, -1. So again, two numbers at a time. 6 plus 5 is 11, plus -1. And 11 and -1 are not the same sign. So 11 minus 1 is 10. And it's a positive 10 because 11 is bigger and 11 is positive. So that's a positive as well. So that was the first 6. Combining, right? We're combining, adding or subtracting. Next, we're going to move on to multiplying. So this one is simpler, actually, as a matter of fact. And it's funny because usually adding and subtracting is easier, but in this case, with integers, multiplying and dividing is much easier. So we have a negative times a positive is a negative. And 7 times 5 is 35. Right? Always do one step at a time. One step at a time. And actually, let me go back because I forgot to box these in, right? Always box your answer. Always box your answer. So, that's number 7. Let's do number 8. So number 8 says negative times negative is positive. So I can write positive or leave it invisible. 7 times 4 is 28. Simple as that. All right. Let's move on to this one now. So remember, 2 at a time, right? So negative times positive is a negative. 7 times 5 is 35. And I bring down my times 6. And now these two, negative times positive is a negative. And 35 times 6 is 210. There you go. It's okay to use a calculator, you know. I know how to do it in my head, but you don't have to know how to do it in your head. Just use a calculator. No problem. All right. Next one, number 10. So again, take two numbers at a time, right? Negative times negative is a positive, which we can leave invisible. 7 times 14 is 98. And then times 4, right? So that one's easy enough. Positive times positive is positive. And 98 times 4 is 392. Just like that, 392. All right. 2 more with multiplication. Right. These ones are a little tougher, so I'm going to use a calculator on this one because even I don't know these numbers here that big. So negative times positive is a negative. 12 times 9 is 108. Parentheses. And I bring down -6. And I bring down -1. So now I'm going to do these two. Negative times negative is a positive. And 108 times 6, 108 times 6 is 648. 648. And that's a positive. All right, negative times negative is positive. I still have my -1 here. So positive times negative is a negative. 648 times 1 is 648. And that is my solution there. Right? So one more for multiplying, number 12. So let's do these two. Okay. Negative times positive is a negative. 11 times 3 is 33. And I'm going to put that in parentheses here, and I'm going to bring down negative 12. And I'm going to bring down 3, because remember, parentheses means multiply, right? So we can use the dots or we can use parentheses. So negative times negative is a positive, which I can keep invisible. And 33 times 12 is 396. Right? These two. Parentheses, and I bring down my times 3. 396 times 3 is 1,188. And there you go. That's number 12. All right. I'm going fast, but it's okay. You can slow down. Right? Rewind. Make sure you're writing all of these down to get credit. All right? So now we're going to do division. And actually, I forgot to mention here. So product means to multiply. So what do you guys think quotient means? Quotient means to divide. Exactly. So negative divided by a positive is equal to a negative. And 42 divided by 6 is 7. There you go. There's that. Easy. Right. 14. Negative divided by a negative is equal to a positive. And 96 divided by 16 is 6, actually. 6. And this, I forgot to box that in. Right? Actually, you know what? Let's write these in a different color, because we're doing division now. So this one was negative 7, and this one was positive 6. All right, 2 more. Now this is a division symbol. It's a little blurry, but it's a division symbol. So negative divided by a positive is a negative. 55 divided by 11 is 5. There's that. And finally, where is it? Where is it? No, actually that's it, right? 15 problems. There they are. Right? So make sure you copy all the steps in order to get full credit. You need to have every single step that I have on here. It's not a coincidence that these ones in the beginning are less steps, right? But as we move on, more steps, right? More steps. Again, number 7 and 8, only 2 steps, right? For number 11 and 12, more steps. So I need to see all the steps in your assignment when you submit it up to Schoology, when you upload it to Schoology. Okay?